Hi there, crafty friends. It's Diane, the Creative Inkster. Today is Monday, January 16th, 2023, and it's time for a creative escape together. We're going to use this card layout. I'm going to actually duplicate pretty much this card with some little different papers from that same package of papers. And then I'm going to show you how to use this layout with our three designer series, well, three of our designer series paper packs that are available during Celebration. So if you don't know what Celebration is, let me tell you. First off, let's turn the alarm off that tells me where I'm supposed to be at 7 o'clock. But Celebration is our annual sale between January 5th and February 28th this year. And with every $60 that you spend, you can select one of our free items. For example, the Day at the Farm Designer Series paper or the Sending Support stamp set. There are stamp sets and paper packs. There are a couple of items in here at the $120 level, which basically means when you spend a minimum $120, you can select this stamp set. Or if you spend $120, you can take two items at the $60 level. So you got a lot of choices here. But we have some really gorgeous papers in here that I want to share with you. This is one, Dainty Flowers. It has a matching bundle in the January to April mini catalog. Hi, Vicki. And so it has something that coordinates. There's the Day at the Farm Designer Series paper, which we'll use tonight. It has a matching bundle, which I got because I think it's going to be so cute for some projects for my grandson. There we go. And then there's another paper pack here on the next page, Favored Flowers. I think that's the favored one so far this year. At least most of my customers have been choosing this as their free item. It is gorgeous, and the catalog does not do it justice, so wait till you see the pieces of paper we're going to work with. And then there is another paper pack at the $120 level. It's called Dandy Designs. It's a big pack. It's 48 sheets of 12 by 12. You get a lot of product here for the $120 level. Really fun designs with polka dots and flowers, stars, stripes, all kinds of things. So some great paper for your everyday projects and spring projects. So also during Celebration though, if you decide that your order is way too big and you need to join and get the starter kit, you can get one of these as well. So normally our join deal is spend $135 and choose $165 worth of product. But during Celebration, you have two options. You can choose $225 worth of product and still pay $135 for the kit. And that $135 includes tax and shipping. So you're not paying anything extra. It's $135, boom, that's it. Or you can pay $175 and get your $225 worth of product and the mini machine. So the mini machine, while supplies last, comes in boho blue, which is a very light blue, or in the standard white. I have the white because I've had this one for a while. And what you can do with these dies is anything that's at no more than 3 inches wide will fit through this one. So our larger embossing folders, they're not going to fit through this. So you'll want to use your bigger machine for that. But if you love having a nice small piece on your desk or on your crafting station, and you have a lot of smaller dies or a lot of dies that are in the sets have a lot of smaller pieces, this is really handy. It has its own plates. Mine are really messed up. I need to order a new set. But it has its own plates, and it comes with a the main piece that you need. It also comes with the adapting piece you use when you use the embossing folders that are designed for this size of machine, and a pair of plates, brand new. And so then all you need to buy afterwards is these replacement acrylic plates like you would normally. So I'm going to throw that out to you just in case you're interested. If you're ready to shop, well, by all means, there's my host code for the month, and you can go ahead and visit my store at thecreativeinkster.stampinup.net. Okay, let's get on to tonight's project. So we're going to recreate basically this one here. We need a standard card base. This is 4 1/4 by 11. I've scored it at 5 1/2. That's the halfway point. And I'm going to fold it in half and burnish it. When I can find my bone folder, there it is. So there's our card base. We'll set that aside. You'll see on this card that we're basically covering the entire card base. So our pieces are all cut at 5.5 inches long. If you prefer having the border around it, you'll just have to adjust these measurements a little bit. Then we've got 2 pieces of 1 inch by 5.5 inches. That does these pieces. So rather than an entire layer where this piece in the middle is wasted because you're covering it up, I cut 2 single 1 inch wide pieces. And then I have the pattern paper, which is 2 inches by 5.5 onto a 2 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece. And when I line these all up on the card base, it covers the entire card front. This paper is from By the Bay, and it's a new pattern in our mini catalog with beautiful gold accents, and then lots of blues, the petal pink, and mint macaron or pool party. I've forgotten which one exactly. So there we go with that, and then I need a piece of white to do my greeting with. I'm going to stamp that and die cut it out, and then I'm going to layer it because there's so many gold accents in here. I'm going to do a gold layer. So the dies I'm using are from a set called Beautiful Shapes. They're in our annual catalog. Just give you a quick peek at those. Page 169, and they're down here in the corner. There's circles, the hexagons in different sizes, kind of an ovally shape, kind of a rectangular but with rounded edges shape, and some other ones that I haven't really actually used myself, these pieces. So I'm not really familiar with those yet, but it's a lovely set for $40 and makes a nice addition to your crafting supplies. So let's go ahead and do this. I am going to use my Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to just put the one on the left. Make sure if you're using a directional paper that your direction is going in the right direction. So in this case, these sort of pieces that they look kind of like grass that would be in by the ocean or on the ocean are kind of sticking up. Or I think this would also work really well for like a celebratory event, like oh hi Brenda, thank you. Celebratory event like New Year's or something. Also very nice and bright. Yes, the Favored Flowers DSP. Wondering if the coordinating dies from the Fragrant Flowers bundle cut out any of the flowers on the DSP. That's a really good question. Let's take a quick peek and see. I suspect they do, because look at that. I don't actually have that Fragrant Flowers bundle myself, but look at that. There's a cutout piece. It looks to me like they do. It's funny, it doesn't specifically say that here, but that certainly looks to be the case. I'll have to look into that for sure and let you know. Okay, so I've got my 2 strips down, and then this can just slide in the middle or slightly overlap. If you're concerned about not having it cut perfectly, then I would suggest doing it a little bit wider and just overlapping it a bit. Just helps you get it even there. And then this piece will go on top like that. Sort of looking at it, which way do those swishes go? But I think I want them going like they've been drawn with a pen. Here's the back side of this paper, which has, because it's the By the Bay, it's got all kinds of seaside animals and such. And so there's a variety of different patterns in this pack with the same images, just in different colors. All right, but the gold accents are beautiful. So I'm going to use my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. I'm sorry, it's going to shake a little wee bit. And I'm going to use these ones from the Beautiful Shapes dies. I'll just put it this way, I think. You'll still be able to see it, but I'll have a little control over what I can see. So we're going to cut out the smaller one in white, like that. I'm going to stamp it after. I'm good with that. Am I safe with that? What's this greeting that I chose? I grabbed a bunch of other ones. I think I'll use sending you smiles for every moment of your special day. So that will fit on there just really perfectly. Because the stamp set doesn't say shown at 95 or 80%, I know that the stamps are exactly the right size. I mean, I could flip it over and also see to just line it up and see that it's going to fit before I start cutting. So put this guy on here. Will that fit? Yeah, that'll fit there. And then I usually like to cut my gold foil paper and silver foil paper so that I'm only using what I need. If not, then what happens is the scratched pieces of your plates will leave scratched impressions on the very soft paper that is the foil paper. It tends to have that happen to it. So I found that it's better to, just don't want that to shift on me. It's better to cut a piece off. Sorry, we're very wiggly, aren't we? There we go. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. That where's the garbage? There's no garbage. You get a little bit of the scratchy lines. It's not going to matter because this is going to cover it up. So it's going to be fine. But you don't want to waste any of your precious paper if you don't have to. All right, let's get the greeting out here. And we're using sending you smiles for every moment of your special day. This stamp set carried over from the fall catalog. Very best occasions. It has a punch that goes with it that does edges and such. It's not one that does full labels, but I liked a lot of the greetings in here, and they have Christmas ones and not Christmas ones, so it's all good. 98 blocks. So I had my team over here on the weekend, on Saturday, for an event. So we had all the blocks out, and I haven't put anything away yet. So I'm going to be using a little bit bigger block than normal. This is my goal, is to get it on like this. Let's see how that's going to fit. And we're going to use Night of Navy. When I look at it, though, the petal pink might have looked nice, too. But we're going to go with Night of Navy. Okay, and we'll put this on here. There we go. Oh, looks like I need to re-ink this ink pad. Probably used it a lot in the fall. That's okay. We'll stick this on like this, right over top of the gold. It looks so pretty. Gold accents or silver accents are just gorgeous on your cards. It's not a lot of excess to add it on, but wow, what a beautiful impression it makes. All right. There we go. Clean that guy up. I think I may use that greeting again. Now I'm going to get some dimensionals on here just to pop this guy up. And I could put some ribbon behind it. I'm going to keep it fairly simple that way so that this can be for more of a masculine card. Not that I don't think ribbon should go on masculine cards, but I don't tend to do that. And if I did add ribbon, I probably would go with something that has gold in it. But I'm going to grab my festive pearls. Those were my favorites in the fall. They have, my package is really messed up. They have silver, gold. Oh, look at that. That doesn't belong in there. Cherry cobbler and soft succulent, I believe, is the other color in here. And wow, these just like really stand out nicely. And I just love gold dots. I think that they're so pretty on a card as an accent. And the silver ones too. There we go. But we have rhinestones in silver. So I feel like that, you know, kind of covers it off. All right. I'm going to work hard here to get 4 cards done tonight. Get that out of the way. And show you different ways to do this layout and how beautiful they turn out. So that's this one basically replicated. All right. Moving on to the next one to show you some of the other products that we have. This is On the Farm. Let's find the On the Farm paper. Got the same basic card base. All right, we're going with 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2, and folded in the middle. And then this adorable piece. So when I looked at the different papers in this pack, some of them, the back, some of them are very much the farm look to them, and then the back side would be like the chicken wire and more of a gingham kind of looking paper. But I thought this would be fun with yellow. Daffodil Delight's not a color I use a lot. I tend to go with either crushed curry or saffron when I'm using it. Oh, here's another one of the patterns that I use for the strips with the oops, that's upside down. With the vegetables on it. How cute is that? Like that would be perfect for a friend if you're giving them a card with food, or you're giving them a card and they like to cook, something like that. It'd be really cute. But then I'm just going to use the other side because I'm actually going for the farm animals versus the farm food. And this matches so nicely, although there's a little bit of yellow showing with the corn. I'm just layering it right on the outside edges of my card base. And then, oh, did I cut you kind of short? No, I didn't. I know what I'm going to do with that. This has cherry cobbler in it. So that, I'm going to read off the colors to you actually. Oops-a-daisy, where are you? Nice little farm animals. So it has Balmy Blue, Cherry Cobbler, Daffodil Delight, Garden Green, Pear Pizzazz, and Soft Suede. And cherry cobbler, it's not a color we use a lot at maybe this time of the year. It tends to be something we use more at Christmas time. So I loved how that is going to have a nice pop of color on the back of my greeting. Oops, did I? I didn't glue these together yet. Thought I had. Got busy. Okay, we're going to put this one in the middle. So I like this to be one of my back pocket card layouts. Something that when you're just not sure, you're looking for a layout, and you need some inspiration, this is an easy one. So I was thinking we would start keeping track of these layouts. Like they go into the Facebook page, but maybe if we put them into a little ebook, and then we'd have some of our basic layouts that are ready to go. How handy would that be, right? Cute. For so many years we did like full 4 by 5 1/4 was always the layer, and it's nice to see other options and such. Okay, now we're going to cut out our die pieces. So we're going to get wiggly on the table once again, and we're going to do cherry cobbler and basic white. So let's line this up. So something about using this mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss, I want to show you. I didn't mention it a moment ago. Maybe it's easier if I show you when I just do one of them at a time. When you line this up, yeah, it's nice, isn't it? You want to have the bottom one a little further out than your top layer. You don't want them together at the end. You want them to be offset a wee bit. You definitely need them to go over top of the number 1 plate. It has to be that thickness. But if you offset them just a bit, it catches a little easier going through the die. It's easier to get it started. So where one is ahead of the other, whether it's the top or the bottom, it goes just so much better. It grabs it better. That was something I had to learn in the beginning when I first started with this one. I'm not quite sure why that is, but it's not the plates, because the plates are the same beveled edges like on our other ones. It's just the way that it kind of grabs to go through. So where'd the other die go? Well, it can't be far away. Oops, don't need that. Anybody see where it went? Maybe I tossed it in here. Ever do that? Like, I'm sure you do. Oh, there it is. I see it. I see it. I see it. There we go. I moved it forward. Yeah, I don't know why I'd ask anybody online if they saw what I did with it, but that happens. Okay, so now we're going to put the white on here. And once again, I'm lining this up. I'll hold it together here so that the top one is protruding just a little bit past the bottom one of the two acrylic clear plates. There we go. And it goes through better. The one thing that I think would make this machine even better than it already is if it stayed put on the table a little more easily. I kind of get cranking it. I get carried away. All right, so we want matching cherry cobbler ink. Here we go. I don't even know if this one's inked up. It's been so long since I've used cherry cobbler. And that's going to go on top of there. And I wanted to use the stamp from the coordinating stamp set. That's not it. Here it is, on the farm. So we have thinking happy thoughts of you, or today's a good day. Oh, but they're not even mounted yet. I haven't even started playing with this yet. Okay, let's pick the other one just for simplicity's sake and to move forward. But that is the stamp set. And it's not, I mean, everybody doesn't need a farm stamp set. I get you. And I didn't think I would either, being a city girl. But I think I can do a lot of really cute things for Alistair with this. So I'm excited to play with it. Hi, Glenda. And then it has coordinating dies, which when you're dealing with lots of animals and shapes and things, I think it's nice to have the coordinating dies. A lot of dies in this. I didn't actually write down how many, but there's 17 stamps and then all these coordinating dies. Makes a cute one. All right, so we're going to use cherry cobbler, as I mentioned, with sending you smiles for every moment of this special day. And this may be Alistair's 7-month card because it's cute. I'm just trying to line it up straight there. There we go. Isn't that adorable? So yeah, cherry cobbler for a spring type card. Who'd have thunk it? Get my cleaner out here. We'll clean the stamp before we stick a piece of paper on it, because nobody ever does that, right? Yeah, all the time. Pretty regular, in fact. There we go. Put this on here. Layer this up. And you could also add another layer in here. If you took your white, actually we'll do it on the next card. But if you take your white and you put it on a card and then you cut around and then you stick it on the next size up die, you'll get a thin bordered piece in the middle. I'll show you what I mean on the next card, because like I don't have anywhere to be, and if you don't have anywhere to be and you just want to hang out, this is all a good thing, right? Glenda, you'll notice I'm not using StreamYard yet. I'm wondering if that's going through your mind. Why is she not using StreamYard yet? Didn't she say she was going to try and use StreamYard? Yes, it's on the list of things to get to this week. And as luck would have it, with the festive pearls, there are cherry cobbler ones in here too. So how great is that for coordination? So we'll stick some of these on here. I love it when a plan comes together. There we go. A couple of these. You did notice. That probably doesn't mean much to most people, but StreamYard is a streaming service to help you post your videos. And I go Facebook Live, and Glenda's been teaching a couple of us how to use StreamYard. And we were like, yes, we promise we'll start using it. So that was what I was supposed to do over the holidays, but, well, you know, the holidays were busy. Holy moly, I don't know about you, but with the visiting and the hanging out and the seeing friends and all that stuff, it was wonderful, but not a lot of extra time. There was time to craft. I made a lot of samples. Okay, so this paper, we have two in this color. This is Starry Sky. This is the pattern on the other side of it. And then this, it's the Dainty Flowers paper pack, I believe. I'm going to pull it out here. It's called Dainty Flowers, and it has lots of floral vertical flower pieces, and then the back sides have some more basic colors, but it has one sheet, well, that would be two sheets, but one pattern that has these sprays of flowers. It was on my blog the other day, the circular spray. I'm trying to see if it's not one in the samples here, but you'll see it on my Facebook page, and it's just a gorgeous card. I think it was from Friday from Lisa Henderson. Oh, it is gorgeous. So I want to use that for a card class coming up. Here we go. And just makes a beautiful card. So I'm going to start with the Starry Sky, sort of lattice looking strips. Looks like white lattice. So we'll put one on either side. So this is 12 by 12 paper. So how I did this was I needed it 5.5 long, so I cut a 1-inch strip off. And then I cut that 1-inch strip in half, because the way the lattice falls, it doesn't matter side by each if it's not it doesn't have to line the pattern up or anything. And then, oops, no, we're doing this. This is Blushing Bride. Here we go. I'm just cutting off a little of the extra hairs. If when you use your paper trimmer you've got little extra bits left on the side, you just take your scissors and lightly cut them off. It just is an indication that your blade's probably needing to be changed. So I will need to do that too. Here we go. Blushing Bride down the middle, 2¼ inches wide. I'm not really sure where I saw this. Oh, I do remember where I saw this layout. So I believe I saw this layout from my friend Shauna McCuliak in Saskatchewan. I think it's hers, or it's very similar and I've just adapted it slightly in the measurements. I think I adapted slightly, mostly because I wanted to get the most amount out of my paper packs. I believe I've seen people do this similar thing with it being just 2¼ or 2½ inch wide, and this just kind of helped me use the paper in the best way possible for me. And we're off to cut some more of these hexagons out. So let's grab a piece of white. These are all my scrap cutoffs from various things, and we'll cut the small piece, and then we're going to try that. I'm going to try that adding another layer in there. Oops, I'm right on top of the card. So what will we do? Maybe a Blushing Bride to match. So we've got a white, and then we've got the Starry Sky. Going to be a skinny piece. And you can use your Stampin' Cut and Emboss, whether it's the regular or the mini, both ways. It kind of rolls one way, and then you can line it up and roll it back the other way. Or I've seen people hold it and do it horizontally too. Okay, so we're going to first stamp something on this. So let's see, what shall we try this time? I've got this stamp set, Inspired Thoughts, and I don't know that, well, fit? Oh, it does. It's your time to be remembered, to feel appreciated, and to know you're celebrated. Such a beautiful saying. Let's stick that over there. So we're going to grab that one. And it should fit on there. It looks as if it will. I'm just going to double check again before I go in. Yep, looking good. Right, let's get it right side up, shall we? And I'm going to use Starry Sky. It's a very deep, dark, bluish, purplish blue. Beautiful, beautiful color. I'm just going to take a trial run because I felt like I might have had too much ink in one spot on this and not enough in another, so I like to do that trial run once in a while. So I'm going to line this up best I can. There we go. That turned out quite nicely. And we're going to grab a scrap of Blushing Bride, which I have here. And there should be enough. Will I be able to do it off that piece? Yipper! Perfect. Don't use more than you need and use it up. So we're going to glue this down on top. And then we're going to trim it down by hand. I know, fussy cutting by hand, not always everybody's favorite. But as you can see from here, you have a fair bit of a layer. So we're going to add one in between. Let's see how it goes. So I lined it up so that I would only have to cut on so I could cut on fewer sides, and also gives me a starting straight edge. And it doesn't work so well with a circle. Like there's no way I could cut a circle this evenly. But cutting straight cuts down the edge, I could do that. I can do that fairly well. There we go. So quickly on the fly, without any special tools or that, I've added that extra layer in there. Now we're going to stick it onto here, and I could have made it even deeper, but that just helps it pop that little wee bit more. So it works great with your rectangles and squares and more straight edged. You could actually even cut with your paper trimmer if you wanted. I just grabbed my paper snips and away I went. And this is going to go on here. And how pretty is that? I'm going to pop that guy up. And just give it a little bit of life. Give it a little bit of height. Without covering too much of that really pretty paper. So no embellishments this time. I'm just going to kind of move on because I've got one more to show you. And then this will give you a nice little representation of the various pattern papers at the level 1 or $60 purchase level. So again, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2, folded in half. Just basic white. One reason why I do basic white, if you're a demonstrator and wondering why, is that I don't need a layer since we're covering the front anyway. I don't need a layer for the inside. If I used a dark colored cardstock, which I do often, then I would want to put a piece of white on the inside. Alrighty, so this paper comes in 2 sizes of big flowers. This is the one Vicki was mentioning at the beginning of the video, whether the dies from the matching stamp set from the January to April mini catalog would cut right out of the dies. If you're still on Glendon, you know this. That's what we're curious to know. I don't have that stamp set. So you've got this with Evening Evergreen or with Mossy Meadow, and it's similar flowers. This one covers more of the paper, and this one is more open with darker in the background. And then the other patterns are in Calypso Coral. I've decided to use these ones because I like the back of this for the flip side, and then this is going to go here. I've kind of liked both of these patterns. Probably use this one a little bit more, Fresh Freesia. this other 1" by 5.5" strip down on the right hand side. And we'll just line this up just like so. So remember, if you've got a wish list and your wish list is big, think about getting the starter kit. It's a great value. You'll get a lot with it. You'll become a member of my team, so there are definitely perks to that. I do in-person events and I do virtual events. We did a shoebox swap on Saturday that just passed, which is where everybody prepared a card for each of the people coming. And there were 6 of us, and we sat around the table here and made the cards together. It was loads of fun. We had lots of laughs, and we just keep it really simple. And we were like, well, some of them didn't leave till after 3 hours, so we got a little carried away. But we had a really nice afternoon of making each other's cards. And the funny thing was, the ones that were new to doing shoebox, that had never done a shoebox swap before, did the cards that I felt were probably the most appropriate for getting them done as quickly as possible. Funny how that is. All right, we've got another one to die cut here. Grab the small die, smaller of the 2 hexagon dies. It up there, and I'm going to use rich raspberry. I hope that's going to be a nice enough color with this. Didn't want too much of the fresh freesia. I wanted to kind of step just a little bit away from that. And then the other piece is a piece of rich raspberry here, but I think it pulls that color in on there quite nicely. So I'm going to, because as I mentioned, this does anything 3 inches wide, I'm going to trim down my piece of paper just by holding my die over top of it. This is just a piece of scrap. And stick this in here, ready to go through. There we go, line you up. And we'll have this one die cut. Okay. Just get down to this piece. All right, and we're going to stamp the same greeting. It's your time to be remembered, to feel appreciated, and to know you're celebrated. I think that's great for thank yous and birthdays, for in a workplace setting. That's certainly what I had made some cards for someone to give out for that reason, and this was perfect for that. The greeting anyhow. Put this down here. There we go. Just glue this down on top of the matching layer and pop it up on some dimensionals. And I think this would be a really quick and easy layout to work with. Definitely a nice one for showing off pattern paper. And I hope you've seen a number of the different patterns we have available during Celebration, kind of help you see what it looks like in the flesh. I'll bring them in here so you can see them all. So there we go. This is Favored Flowers, Dainty Flowers, A Day on the Farm, and then this is Seaside Bay. These are the ones that you would purchase that are, or sorry, by the bay. And they have the gold on them. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here. I will be back on Wednesday with another video, and have a wonderful evening. Talk soon.